And here the war is best. Here the war is best described as kind, especially if it has taken the life of the some who are close to us, who are yearning for us. In conclusion, war is not kind, despite death is a possibility of the war, and this death is not give us the advantages of death as shown through the mentions of the high, the heaven, and the gods, the allusion of the Greek mythology, the god of war before that, and foremost, it is the cruel by killing people and leaving loved ones alone. It is the most uncurable pain in the world where our loving ones are leaving us. Their grief is reflected in this desire by crying, and the narrator's attempts to trying to justify the kindness of the war intensifies their suffering. One cannot easily find the reason of this grief situation in a logic way or in an unlogic way. Thank you for hearing.
Thank you to our senior presenter, Ms. Arnavi Sridhar, to do a outstanding performance in her topic War and Kind. It is very useful for our future in English literature studies. Next, I welcome Ms. Abhana Ravindran to do her presentation in her topic The Eagle.
Good evening to you all. In this evening, I would like to speak on the poem The Eagle by Alfred Tennyson. The poem The Eagle was written by Alfred Tennyson in 19th century, and he wrote this poem in the time period of when the Queen Victoria was lived. Alfred Tennyson was born on 6th of August 1809. This is one of the shortest poem which was written by Alfred Tennyson. This poem has 6 lines and 2 stanzas. Each 2 stanzas has 3 lines. So it is called as tercet. It is the special name for a stanza which has 3 lines in it. Now we can go into the poem. This poem has a beautiful theme concert on nature. He clapped the crag with crooked hands. Here the word he is a subject pronoun. So here he personificates the bird with the word claps, crags, and the word crooks are alliteration as they are beginning with the same letter, which is C. And he's saying that the bird is clasping. That means he is holding the rocks tightly to be safe from the winds. And crooked hands is the personification because the human has the hands to hold anything. Here he used personification. Personification means describing anything. Anything means the unhuman characters to the human. Next, we move into the second line. Close to the sun in lonely land. Here he used a hyperbole effect because it is not easy to go close to the sun. Here he used hyperbole to the hyperbole. So here he said that the bird is close to the sun and he is apart from the human activities and the human world, as he feels he is the mirage of the world. He as he like the desolate, so he is standing still without any disturbance. Ringed with the azure world he stands, which means the azure world means the blue sky. The colors suggest the nobility, and here Kashura is used. Kashura is used. Um, it means break or post a line with the punctuation like commas or dashes. So he's saying he's standing alone without any disturbance in the blue sky with the surrounding. The wrinkled sea beneath him crawls. This line is starting the second stanza. In the second stanza, the point of view is totally changing. The wrinkled sea beneath him crawls. It means when he looked under he can see that the waves are moving slowly, slowly. So he think that he is very powerful and speed. The words wrinkled and crawls are the word wrinkled and the word crawls are the two power contrast between the natural elements. He watches from the mountain walls. The word walls here, it means the home. He is at the top of the mountain and looking the surrounding of him. He look at the surrounding to get his prey. When he spot his prey, he will do his attack quickly, as he has sharp eyesight, and like a thunderbolt he fall. Here he used a simile with the word like. Similes mean describing one thing with another with the words like and as. Here, the moving is describing as the thunderbolt. The bird, as I already know, as I already told, that when it spot its prey, it get quick move, and it is the power of the bird. This poem was written in 19th century, and the poetic form of the poem is triplet. The emotion evoked here are bravery, shrewdness, and strength. Here, this poem has a neat rhyming pattern, which is hands, lands, and stands. Here it is A, and in the second stanza, crawls, walls, and falls. They are B. So the rhyming scheme of the this poem is A, and B. Totally, he used many poetic techniques to trigger the readers to memorize the poem. Finally, I would like to say direction is more important than speed. Thank you for having me in this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Avana, for your marvelous presentation. Now I would like to call Sugandhan Sagithian to talk about the Lahore attack by Kumar Sangakkara. Let's give the side to Sagithian.
A great warm good evening to you all. I am going to present about the speech in the topic The Lahore Attack by Kumar Sangakkara in the Kulin Kavadi lecture, which was delivered on 5th of July 2011 at Lord's. Kumar Sangakkara was born on 27th of October 1977 in Kandy. He is the youngest child of his family. He has two sisters and a brother too. He is the former captain and the left-hand batsman of the Sri Lankan cricket team. Not only in the top order batsman, he is usually to play as a wicket keeper in the team also. He has ranked as the #1 test batsman in the world several times of his career. As well as we all know that nowadays he is the batting coach to the Rajasthan Royals team in Indian Premier League. It was a moment of enormous pride of Sri Lanka when Kumar Sangakkara delivered the 11th 2011 MCC Spirit of Cricket Coverage lecture on July 4th, 2011 at Lord's. Touching on the history, culture, role of cricket and the opportunities for cricket in a liberated from the clutches of terrorism. It gave a huge uplift for Sri Lankan at the time when its international image was being sullied by groups with the political agenda. Sangakkara starts his speech by telling his audience about the history of Sri Lanka and his people. He is proud of his country's heritage, close-knit families, strong communities, and an exceptionally hospitable culture. He describes how the game first provides an opportunity for affluent Sri Lankans of all races, castes, and religious beliefs to come together and indulge a shared passion. When the game is open to the masses, it solidifies the place of this very English game in Sri Lankan hearts. This cool and covered lecture by Kumar Sangakkara was narrated in the first person point of view. He maintains a patriotic and sympathetic talking way in this speech. The whole world mesmerized by his speech because of his sincerity, dignity, and patriotism. In the speech, he emphasizes his love, kindness, and care to his team players and to the poor people in the world as well as. He also describes the responsibility of a leader in cricket team and in the country too. This speech reveals the quality of Sangakkara as a great cricketer and as a humanist to the world. Sangakkara also spoke about the importance of leadership in times of crisis. He praised the bravery and selflessness of the Sri Lankan cricketers who were caught up in the attack, but also emphasized the need for leaders to take responsibility and show courage in the face of danger. Another notable aspect of the speech was Sangakkara's emphasis of the power and storytelling to shape our understanding of the world. He spoke about the importance of listening to different voices and perspectives and of recognizing the diversity and complexity of human experience. Sangakkara's emphasizes on the role of sport in promoting social cohesion and overcoming divisions. He spoke about the power of cricket to bring people together and emphasize the importance of creating opportunities for people from different backgrounds to interact and build relationships. Commenting on Lahore attack, Sangakkara begins by saying that he had never experienced a war directly before because of the place which he lives in. This was an experience that I could not relate to. I had great sympathy and compassion for them, but had no real experience with which I could not draw parallels. By these lines, we can say that he had a great sympathy to the people that who were affected by the civil war in Sri Lanka before 2009. In the flow of his speech, he started to explain about his first experience of a war or a bomb blast, but he didn't face it on his own country. That was until we toured Pakistan in 2009. By these lines, we can simply understand that Kumar Sangakkara had his first experience on the tour to Pakistan. Next, in the speech, he expresses the emotions of his teammates about the match. The second test was also mentoring along with us filling up a big first innings. When we departed from the ground on day 3, having been asked to leave early instead of waiting for the Pakistan bus, we were anticipating a day of hard toil of the bowlers. By these lines, we can see the pain, commitment to the play of cricket players for each match they had play on. And he also mentioned the tough game day for his team bowlers. Sangakkara also informs us the duty and responsibility of a leader in a team or in a cricket team. At the back of the bus, the fast bowlers were loud in their complaints. I remember Tilan Tosara being particularly vocal, complaining that his back was near breaking point. He joked that he wished if a bomb would blast in Lahore, they can leave from Pakistan to their motherland, Sri Lanka. This para indicates us the hard life of cricket players and the pressure situation around the captain of a team. In this incident, the wish of Tilan Tusara is an accidental utterances in that moment. It shows us the potential danger of the Sri Lankan team which they faced on the Pakistan as well as a terrorist country which is known as in the world too. Then he goes on to recount the attack in a vivid and dramatic style. Not 30 seconds had passed when we heard what sounded like firecrackers going off. Suddenly, a shout came from the front. Get down, they are shooting at the bus. These lines brings the auditory imagery to us. Kumar Sangakkara uses the literary devices seemingly to merge us to the gun attack which they faced on Lahore. As he said, like firecrackers. By this, the gunshot or in the incident are faced by them as a cracker show. We can also see the use of simile in these lines too. The bullet started to hit. It's like a rain on a tin roof. The bus was at a standstill, an easy target to the gunmen. He also creates the atmosphere to us which they had faced in Pakistan. Here we can see the risk of the players in the gun-shoot incident. He significantly uses simile to connect us to this incident too. His description of the reaction of the players creates a sense of immediacy and high drama. Taranga Paranavidana on his debut tour is also next to me. He stands up, bullets flying all around him, shouting, "I have been hit." I see him and in this para, Kumar Sangakkara uses sympathy to the new player to his team. He displays his sportsmanship and their ability to face emergencies, which they have learned through the game of cricket, when he says, there was no insane panic. There was absolute clarity and awareness of what was happening at the moment. He also explained the moment of being safe from the attack. I hear the bus roll into life and start to move. Dilson is screaming at the driver, "Drive, drive." We speed up, swear, and are finally inside the safety of the stadium. After Kumar Sangakkara explains the emotions of the player at the stadium after the attack. Tan is helped off the bus. In the dressing room, there is a mixture of emotions: anger, relief, joy. Players and coaching staffs are being examined by the paramedics. Tilan and Paranavidana are taken by the ambulance to the hospital. The reaction of the players are the natural emotional expressions after the attack they faced on Lahore. Here we can also see the mercy mind of Sangakkara about his teammates. In this para, by the line, Tilan and Paranavidana are taken by ambulance to hospital, makes a safe imagery to us for the two players. It is with a sense of relief that he says how they survived the attack. We all sit in the dressing room and talk about what happened. Within minutes, there is laughter and the jokes have started to flow. We have for the first time been a target of violence. We have survived. Here, Sangakkara claims the change of mind of the players in the safer place after the attack, and he also claims that Sri Lankans are very strong in many critical situations. The sportsmanship is again displayed when he says, "We were shot at, grenades were thrown at us, we were injured, and yet we were not cowed." Here he continuously shows the patriotic feeling to his country for the audience. We can also see the team spirit of the players too. Sangakkara had displayed many qualities of a good leader in the incident, such as tactfulness, patience, calm mind, sense of responsibility, etc. Our emotions held true to our role as an official ambassador. He also displays humbleness, the greatest quality of a leader, when he reflects on what a soldier had said about dying in action. How can this man value how can this man value his life less than mine? His sincerity was overwhelming. I felt humbled. The respect which had given by the soldier to Sangakkara shows the curiosity in cricket and the desire to the cricket player had evoked the cricket mind of Sri Lankans. And we can also say that the soldier has a great sympathy about Sangakkara as well as a good cricketer and a good patriotic man to Sri Lanka. He also mentioned that his career in cricket had brought him a worthy feeling because of the love had given by the Sri Lankans to him. Sangakkara's speech about the Lahore attack thus makes us experience the real nature of terrorism while highlighting some sterling qualities of Sangakkara as a leader and a sportsman and above all as a Sri Lankan too. Sangakkara firmly believes that cricket has provided an avenue for Sri Lankans to overcome the brutality of war, torture of persecution. He is adamant that his people can become a peaceful and proud nation, healing itself from within and taking its long-awaited place on the world stage with confidence and courage. In the end, I would like to say Kumar Sangakkara as a good cricketer, as a good cricketer, humanist, multilingual speaker, he always maintains a great connect with all type of people. That we can say the thought of the soldier about Sangakkara creates a great sympathy to us about him too. After reading this text, we can get a patriotic feeling to our world as a global citizen. And sports help the players to build a strong character. Players are both mentally and physically strong. They are able to manage hardships in their lives much more than the ordinary man. So this is tough. This is the first time that the cricketers faced the violence. They were able to manage the situation and they are able to come over it. Because the action of the cricket player shows the sportsmanship, team spirit, and the cool mind too. The terrorists were able to injure the players, but they were unable to kill them. Hence, it is quite clear that even a terrorist could not bring down a sportsman. Thank you all for listening me. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you, Master Sugandhan Sahityan, to give us a outstanding performance, and it was a remarkable presentation also. Now I would like to call Master Umasanga Arivarasan to do his presentation on his topic, The Lumber Room by Sahi.
Good evening, all of you. I am here to present about the short story, The Lumber Room. The Lumber Room is a classic short story about child who is too clever for the adults. Specifically, it is about how one clever but mischievous boy, Nicholas, seeks to outwit his aunt so he can gain access to the lumber room with its hidden treasures and curiosities. But the story might also be viewed as an analysis of the nature of obedience and the limited adult view of the world. When contrast with the child's more expansive and imaginative outlook, the prose indicates a society where adults dominate the children. It stops the creativity of the children. This prose takes place in a household or family. It reflects the society. In the society, the adults expect children to be obedient and respect, but the smart kids may question against the adults' activity. At the beginning of the story, the power is in the adults' hands, but in the end of the story, the power is shifted into the Nicholas' hands. The writer of this prose has written many stories. In these stories, the writer laughs at the society which has inappropriate rules. Nicholas is portrayed as a child who is capable of creating and controlling events. The, the shrewd way he does this depicts the intelligence of the character too. For example, at the beginning of the story, he creates a situation where the ant has been proved to be profoundly in error in matters about which she had expressed the utmost assurance. Further, the dialogue which ensues after the children are sent on halfly planned expedition conveys that Nicholas uses impromptu strategies to put the ant who does not have his quick, sharp brain into a difficult position as she is made aware of the truth. The children would not enjoy the expedition by Nicholas. She loses control of situation and changes the subject as she is confronted with loss of face. Only that morning he had refused to eat his wholesome bread and milk on the seemingly frivolous ground that there was a frog in it. Older and wiser and better people had told him that there could not possibly be a frog in his bread and milk and that he was not talk nonsense. He continued, nevertheless, to talk what seemed the various nonsense and described with much detail the coloration and markings of the alleged frog. The dramatic part of the incident was that there really was a frog in Nicholas' basin of bread and milk. He had put it there himself, so he felt entitled to know something about it. The sin of taking a frog from garden and putting it into a bowl of wholesome bread and milk was enlarged on at a great length. But the fact that stood out clearest in whole affair as it presented itself to the mind of Nicholas was that older, wiser, and better people had been proved to be profoundly in error in matters about which they had expressed the utmost assurance. This provides the essence of Nicholas' character and of the lumber room. Nicholas Aunt is mistaken in thinking that there isn't a frog in his food, but only because she fails to know her enemy and realize that Nicholas is just the sort of boy who would have a frog in his food, if only because he is also the sort of boy who would put one there. The aunt is identified as authoritarian. She enforced the orders against children. Here, the writer has used three adjectives to describe the adults. Here, we can understand the art has a way to punish the children. The way is rewarding the other children when one child behaves disobediently. So she invented a trip to Sunset Jagborough to punish Nicholas. The reason for Nicholas is to exclude from the party, he lost his reputation. From this, we can understand the writer differentiates the boy. By this, reader's attention is focused on this boy. This is a failure of imagination, a failure of read Nicholas and interpret the kind of person he is, represents the beginning of his aunt's downfall. As punishment for refusing to eat his food, remember not for putting a frog in said food. Nicholas is kept indoors all day while the other children are out playing. Once again, Nicholas outwits his aunt, convincing her that he longs to go exploring in the gooseberry garden, and thus decoying her into keeping stern watch on the garden, since she fully expects him to attempt to break out into the fruity paradise. But this is just a distraction, since knowing that he, now has his aunt out the way, Nicholas is able to steal the key that unlocks the lumber room of the house and gain access to that forbidden chamber of secrets. Among other things, a tapestry catches his eye and fires his imagination. A man dressed in the hunting costume of some remote period had just transfixed a stage with an arrow. It could not have been a difficult shot because the stage was only 1 or 2 paces away from him. In the thickly growing vegetation that the picture suggested, it would not have been difficult to creep up to a feeding stack, and the 2 spotted dogs that were springing forward to join in the chase had evidently been trained to keep to heel till the arrow was discharged. The part of the picture was simple, if interesting, but did the huntsman see what Nicholas saw? That 4 galloping wolves were coming in his direction through the wood. His aunt, believing she must have missed him when he crept out into the gooseberry garden, goes looking for him and ends up falling into a rainwater tank. She calls for Nicholas to come and help her to get out, but he tells her that he has been forbidden to set foot in the garden. I told you not to, and now I tell you that you may, came the voice from the rainwater tank rather impatiently. Your voice doesn't sound like aunt's, objected Nicholas. You may be the evil one tempting me to be disobedient. Aunt often tells me that the evil one tempts me and that I always yield. This time I am not going to yield. Don't talk nonsense, said the prisoner in the tank. Go and fetch the ladder. Will there be a strawberry jam for tea? Asked Nicholas innocently. Certainly there will be, said Aunt privately, resolving that Nicholas should have none of it. Now I know that you are the evil one and not Aunt, shouted Nicholas gleefully. When we asked Aunt for strawberry jam yesterday, she said there wasn't any. I know there are 4 jars of it in the store cupboard because I looked, and of course you know it's there. But she doesn't because she said there wasn't any. Oh, devil, you have sold yourself. Note the use of childish discernment in that final paragraph. In lumber room, it is the child who is discerning, not the adult. Childishness is thus turned on its head. The lumber room ends with Nicholas walking away and leaving his aunts to be rescued by a kitchen maid on the grounds that he would be going against her own orders if he strayed into the forbidden garden to rescue her. The child turns the adult's punitive rules against her. In doing so, he outwits her, adding her own lie about there being no jam to have for tea.